All right, let's dive in. Today, we're throwing down in the digital arena for a real showdown. Our mission? To find the absolute best budget gaming phone out there, one that gives you killer performance without, completely emptying your bank account.
I mean, it's the classic problem, isn't it? You want that super smooth, high frame rate gameplay, but you're definitely not looking to shell out for a flagship phone. So the big question is, how do you get that top-tier gaming experience on a mid-range budget? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out today.
So, to get our answer, we've got 4 of the hottest new contenders, and we're putting them through a head-to-head gauntlet. And what's interesting is that each one has a totally different game plan for winning you over.
All right, time to meet our fighters. We've got 4 phones here, but they really represent 3 totally different approaches to building the ultimate budget gaming machine.
So first up, in one corner, we've got the Realme P3. Its whole game is just raw, blistering power. Then, challenging it, is the IQOO z10x, which is built for those long marathon gaming sessions. It's all about endurance. And finally, we've got a tag team representing the visual specialists, the Tecno Spark 40 Pro and the Infinix Hot 60 Pro. Their whole strategy is to blow you away with a gorgeous screen.
Okay, let's get this thing started with round 1, raw power. We're going to look right under the hood at the processor, the system on chip. I mean, this is basically the engine of the phone. And for gaming, having a powerful engine is, well, it's just not optional.
And wow, right out of the gate, the benchmarks tell a really dramatic story. You can just see it. There's a huge performance gap here. The Realme P3 and the IQOO z10x, they're running these modern, super efficient 4nm chips, and they are just in a completely different league. The Tecno, with its older 6nm processor, it can't hang. So based purely on these numbers, you'd have to say the Realme P3 has a slight edge as the top dog, on paper at least.
But hold on, it's not just about the main processor. Check this out, storage speed. Both the IQOO and the Realme have what's called UFS 3.1 storage. And trust me, this is a huge deal. It means your games, your levels, everything just loads way, way faster. The other 2 phones, they're stuck on the older, slower UFS 2.2 standard. And you are absolutely going to feel that difference staring at a loading screen. So yeah, round 1 is a clear win for our 2 performance heavyweights.
Okay, but having a powerful engine is only half the story, right? Let's move on to round 2, visuals. I mean, you can have the fastest chip in the world, but if the screen looks bad, who cares? This is where our 2 visual specialists, the Tecno and the Infinix, are really hoping to land a punch.
And they come out swinging with a big number, 144 Hz. That is a crazy fast refresh rate, and it promises that buttery smooth motion we all love. On the spec sheet, that completely blows the 120 Hz screens on the Realme and IQOO out of the water.
But you know how this goes. Any serious gamer knows that the spec sheet doesn't tell the whole story. So, is a bigger number always better? Let's dig a little deeper here.
So first off, let's talk about the actual screen technology. The Realme, Tecno, and Infinix, they all use these beautiful AMOLED panels. And for gaming, these are just amazing. You get those perfect, inky blacks and super fast pixel response times, which basically means less ghosting, less motion blur. Our endurance champ, the IQOO, is using a really good LCD screen, but you got to give the edge to the AMOLEDs here.
And this is a big but. Here's the catch with those flashy specs on the Tecno and Infinix. Remember those weaker processors? Well, they're just not powerful enough to actually run demanding games at a super high resolution. So they do something pretty clever. The phone renders the game at a normal 1080p, and then a separate little chip upscales that image to fit the screen. It's a smart workaround to keep things smooth, for sure, but it also means you're not really getting a true native high-resolution gaming experience.
And that brings us to our final, and honestly, probably the most important round of all, the endurance test. A fast chip and a pretty screen are great, but can these phones actually keep it up over a long gaming session? This is where we separate the contenders from the champions.
And right here, you see the IQOO z10x's secret weapon, a colossal 6,500 milliamp hour battery. I mean, it just completely dwarfs the competition. The Realme P3 is no slouch with 6,000. That's impressive. But the IQOO is just built from the ground up to be the last phone standing.
And folks, this is the moment the whole competition just flips on its head. Remember our early leader, the Realme P3? The one with all that peak power? Well, it turns out it has an Achilles heel, a big one. Reports from users, from testers, they all say the same thing. When you push this phone hard, it gets hot. And that heat leads to something called thermal throttling, where the phone literally slows itself down to avoid damage, killing your frame rate at the worst possible moment.
The IQOO Z10X, though, it's engineered specifically to avoid that exact problem. It starts with that super efficient 4nm chip, sure. It adds a big cooling system, but the real genius move is that giant battery. It's not just there for power, it actually acts like a massive heat sink, soaking up and spreading out the heat so the phone can keep running at peak performance for hours.
And then, just to add a final knockout punch, the IQOO throws in something called 4D game vibration. This is a really advanced haptic system, so you actually feel things like gunfire or explosions through the phone. It's one of those premium touches that just pulls you deeper into the game and shows they were thinking about the entire gaming experience.
So, there you have it. After 3 tough rounds, power, visuals, and endurance, it's time. Let's look at all the evidence and crown a champion.
When you get right down to it, the final choice is really about this. Do you want peak performance or sustained performance? The Realme P3 gives you the absolute highest numbers on paper, but it comes with that huge risk of overheating and slowing down. The IQOO Z10X, on the other hand, gives up a tiny sliver of that peak power for something way more important. Rock-solid, consistent performance hour after hour.
And that really gets to the heart of it. For any serious gamer, sustainability is everything. Who cares about a high benchmark score if your phone can't hold that performance 30 minutes into a heated match? It's useless.
And for that exact reason, the winner of our budget gaming gauntlet, our ultimate mobile champion, is the IQOO Z10X. It's the whole package. You get that marathon battery, the super fast storage, the brilliant cooling system that keeps it stable, and those extra immersive features. It's just the most reliable, well-rounded choice for anyone who's serious about their games.
So when you're looking for your next gaming phone, you just have to ask yourself one question. Do you want a sprinter that's fast out of the gate but burns out after the first lap? Or do you want a marathon runner that can go the distance right alongside you? I think you know the answer. Thanks for joining me.